It was just past 5 p.m. on a humid Thursday in Eastwood, Georgia, the kind of town where the air sticks to your skin and the stairs stick even harder. The food mart off Grant Highway buzzed with tired workers, kids in soccer cleats, and mothers clinging to coupons like lifelines. Among them was Jordan Miles, 38, pushing a slightly squeaky cart while trying to keep her two children from arguing over Pop-Tarts. Jordan didn't look like a federal judge today. Her hair was pulled into a simple bun. Her jeans were faded. The hoodie she wore had a barely visible stain from the orange juice her son spilled that morning. She carried no briefcase, no badge, and certainly no protection, unless you counted the quiet confidence in her eyes. "Mom, can we get the blue cereal?" her youngest, Ava, asked. "Only if it's under $3, Jordan replied with a smile, placing a gallon of milk into the cart. To everyone else in the store, she was just another single mother shopping with her kids. To the man watching her from aisle 4, she was a problem. Officer Travis Kendall, 36, stood leaned against the red box kiosk near the exit. His uniform crisp, his belt heavy, his ego heavier. He wasn't there on official duty. Not exactly. The precinct had been getting complaints lately about shoplifting at this food mart, mostly aimed at suspicious individuals. And in Travis's mind, suspicious had a very specific skin tone. When he saw Jordan swipe her EBT card and pull out a Coach wallet, one that looked a little too high-end for her hoodie, his jaw tightened. "Typical," he muttered under his breath. She was trying to pack her bags quickly, juggling groceries and keeping her kids in line, when he approached. "Ma'am, I need you to step away from the register." Jordan looked up, confused. "Excuse me?" "Don't make this harder than it has to be," he said, voice louder now, hands where I can see them. Her kids froze. I just paid for these," Jordan said, gesturing to the receipt still fluttering on the register. "I said step away from the cart, now." People started to turn. A man in a baseball cap grabbed his phone and began recording. Jordan slowly raised her hands. "Officer, this must be a misunderstanding. I'm not." Before she could finish the sentence, he grabbed her wrist and slammed her against the checkout counter, twisting her arms behind her back as her daughter let out a piercing scream. "You're resisting," he growled. "Stop, Mommy," her son cried, reaching forward before another shopper gently pulled him back. She said nothing, not a scream, not a cry, just closed her eyes and breathed a deep, controlled breath, like she'd done before every mission. And as the handcuffs clicked shut, she looked up and said, barely above a whisper, "You're going to regret this." Travis scoffed, yanking her toward the exit. "Yeah, well, next time you want to look rich, try not using food stamps." The moment hung in the air, cruel, cutting. The recording phone caught everything. The kids were sobbing now, following behind. Jordan didn't resist, but her eyes, they weren't broken. They were calculating. Because this wasn't just her neighborhood. This was her assignment. She had returned to Eastwood on federal orders to investigate the increasing reports of abuse by officers in the 7th District. And now, without lifting a finger, Officer Travis Kendall had just written the first page of his own indictment. The back seat of the squad car was sticky and cramped. Jordan Miles sat in silence, her wrists still bound too tightly. Her kids were crying just outside the vehicle, being held by a junior officer who kept awkwardly patting their shoulders, unsure how to comfort them. Officer Travis Kendall sat in the front seat, smug and self-assured, radioing in her detainment. "Yeah, got a female, black, approximately late 30s. Claimed she paid for her groceries, but something's not adding up. Says her name is Jordan Miles. Probably fake." The dispatcher on the other end hesitated. "Say again? Jordan? What? Miles? Miles. I'm running her info now." Travis squinted at his screen, then tapped in her name. Nothing came up. No warrants, no priors, no parking tickets, not even a damn speeding fine. Just one line. "Classified clearance, DOJ. Do not detain. Contact supervisor immediately." His face twitched. He stared at the screen, then at Jordan through the mirror. She wasn't struggling. She wasn't panicking. She was watching him, calm, unwavering. "Who the hell are you?" he muttered. Jordan didn't answer. She didn't need to. At Eastwood Precinct, 7th District, Travis led her into the building like a trophy, nodding at fellow officers along the way. Got a shoplifter who got mouthy. Tried to lie about her name. Kids cried like it was a damn drama class. The receptionist looked up confused. "Wait, what's the charge?" "Pending." I'll figure something out. Behind him, Jordan kept her head low. Still cuffed, still quiet. She was shown to a holding room, a gray box with metal benches and a single flickering light. Travis shut the door and leaned against it, arms crossed. You can stop pretending now. I don't care what act you're pulling. That's not your name. You fit the profile. Welfare fraud, theft, lying to law enforcement. You people think you're smarter than the system? That was it. Jordan slowly looked up. Her voice was still soft, but this time it landed like a thunderclap. And what system is that, Officer Kendall? The one where being black and female is grounds for suspicion? Or the one where humiliation is standard procedure for people like me? Travis blinked. You talk about profiles, but the only profile in this room is the one you carry, the badge that says you're above consequences. She leaned forward, the handcuffs catching the light. But I know something about systems too. I work for the one that comes after yours. Before Travis could respond, Captain Hill, the precinct commander, stormed in. Where is she? The captain barked. Travis turned, startled. Sir? Jordan Miles, where is she? You detained her. Yes, I thought she... Get out of the room, Kendall. Now. Captain Hill stepped in, shut the door, and looked at Jordan. He was a black man in his 50s, close-cropped hair, sharp eyes dulled by years of internal battles. He nodded to her, no words, just understanding. Judge Miles, I had no idea you were starting the probe this week. We weren't notified. Jordan gave a tight smile. That was the point. She slowly lifted her wrists. He moved to uncuff her. He didn't check your clearance? Jordan shook her head. Didn't even ask for ID, just assumed I was stealing because I had a Coach wallet and 2 kids. Hill exhaled, ashamed. We've had complaints, but they're always hard to prove. Jordan's eyes narrowed. Not anymore. She handed him a recording device, a micro recorder sewn into the lining of her hoodie. Every word, from the store to this room. Hill took the device, looking suddenly 10 years older. What do you want to do? Jordan looked down for a moment, then straightened her back. For now? Nothing. Let him believe he's in control. I want to see how deep this goes. Who protects him? Who looks the other way? And when I'm ready... She stood. I won't need a courtroom to make him answer. The truth will do it for me. The video was already online. Someone from the store, a teenager with quick fingers and a large TikTok following, had posted it. The caption read, "Racist cop arrests mom in front of her crying kids for shopping while black." Within an hour, it had 30,000 shares. People started tagging lawyers, activists, and influencers. What they didn't know yet was the woman in the video wasn't a helpless victim. She was a federal judge on assignment, and what was coming wasn't just justice. It was a reckoning. Travis returned to the room, smirking. You're lucky the captain's soft. Most people would have already processed you. Jordan stood, her hands now free. He froze. Wait, why are you uncuffed? She walked past him slowly. You should start thinking about what you're going to say when the lights turn on and it's you behind the table. Wait, who are you? Jordan didn't answer. She just smiled, turned over her shoulder and said, let's just say, next time you call someone welfare trash, make sure you're not talking to the woman who signs your search warrants. The next morning, the sun rose over Eastwood like any other day, but nothing about the town felt normal. At the corner store on Grant Highway, the cashier who'd witnessed the arrest was being interviewed by a local reporter. Down the street, a protest sign hung on the fence outside the precinct, Protect and Serve WHO. The video had exploded overnight. 1.2 million views. Thousands of comments. And a single name started to circulate in the whispers, Judge Jordan Miles. At 8:15 a.m., a nondescript black sedan pulled into the Eastwood precinct. Captain Hill stood outside waiting. The car door opened, and Jordan Miles stepped out, now in full professional attire, tailored navy suit, low heels, hair neatly pressed. No hoodie, no plastic bags, just presence. She walked past every officer she had passed in handcuffs the night before. This time, no one dared speak. Hill led her to a quiet office upstairs. It leaked, he said bluntly. Jordan raised an eyebrow. Which part? Not from us. Someone at DOJ, high level, probably trying to preempt backlash. Jordan sighed. She wasn't surprised, but she was disappointed. So now they all know, Hill nodded. They know who you are, they just don't know what you're going to do. At the same time, Twitter and TikTok were melting. Wait. That woman was a federal judge? Y'all cuffed a sitting judge in front of her kids? Hey, Jordan Miles needs to speak. We're behind her. But Jordan didn't speak, not yet. Instead, she watched, she read, she listened, and she made a list. Not of enemies, but of patterns. How people reacted when they thought she was poor, and how they reacted now. The hypocrisy wasn't subtle, it never was. Even some of the officers who had laughed at her the day before now offered her fake smiles. But the most glaring silence came from Travis Kendall. He hadn't shown up to roll call. He wasn't responding to his supervisor. Rumors swirled. He took a leave. He's lawyered up. Internal Affairs called. He's screwed. But Jordan didn't celebrate. She wasn't interested in revenge. She was interested in the root. Later that afternoon, a press conference was called at City Hall. Microphones lined the podium. A crowd of reporters buzzed with impatience. They expected outrage, drama, fire and fury. But Jordan walked out alone. No entourage, no suit of bodyguards, just her voice. Yesterday, I was arrested in front of my children for shopping while black. The murmurs started immediately. I didn't tell the officer who I was. Not because I was afraid, but because I wanted to know what would happen if I didn't carry my title like a shield. She paused. What happened is exactly why I was assigned to Eastwood. We are not here to destroy the police. We are here to expose what happens when power is unchecked and training is selective. My children saw me get slammed into a counter, but they also saw me stand up without screaming. That's the lesson I want them to remember. Not the handcuffs, but the stillness. The room fell silent, and then applause. Not wild, not explosive, just steady, respectful, real. Officer Travis Kendall watched it all from a dark bar 20 miles out of town. Whiskey in his hand, shame in his chest. He couldn't breathe right since the video went viral. His phone had been ringing non-stop. Lawyers, union reps, death threats. He rewound the video again. He watched himself say, "Yeah, well, next time you want to look rich, try not using food stamps." Then he saw her face. Calm. Not afraid, just aware. He knew then. This wasn't going away. This wasn't a suspension. This was the end of everything he thought he could get away with. Jordan returned home that night and tucked her children in bed. They were still shaken, but not broken. "Mommy, are you going to jail?" her daughter had asked the night before. Jordan had knelt beside her and said, "No, baby, but someone's going to answer for what they did." Tonight, there were no more questions, only hugs. As she sat alone in the living room, phone lighting up with media requests, her fingers hovered over the screen. CNN, MSNBC, local papers, bloggers, even Fox News. She turned them all down. She wasn't interested in becoming a headline. She was building a case. The municipal building was packed. The public hearing had been called on short notice, but word spread faster than protocol. Every seat was filled. Activists, students, off-duty officers, church leaders, camera crews, and even a few of Jordan's law school peers who hadn't seen her in over a decade. And in the middle of it all sat Officer Travis Kendall, sweating under the fluorescent lights, his hands clasped, his lips pressed into a line he'd been rehearsing all night. Across the room, Judge Jordan Miles entered without fanfare. No gavel, no robe, no bailiff to announce her presence, just the steady click of her heels and the kind of silence that followed people who didn't need to speak loudly to command a room. She took her seat before the committee. A panel of 7 officials from state and federal oversight boards. Her nameplate read simply, "Hon Jordan Miles, testifying witness." And when they asked her to begin, she did. Not with accusation, but with clarity. "I walked into that grocery store with a $48 budget, a government-issued EBT card, and 2 children who just wanted cereal," she said plainly. "I paid. I packed my bags, and I was arrested, not because of what I did, but because of what I looked like while doing it." Officer Kendall believed my wallet didn't match my hoodie, that I didn't belong, that my children's tears didn't matter. Jordan didn't read from notes. Her hands rested gently in her lap, her voice never rose. But with every word, the silence grew heavier. "I've presided over criminal trials, federal reviews, and discrimination claims. I've ruled on what justice should look like." She leaned slightly forward. "But I've never felt its absence more profoundly than when my own children watched me get dragged across a tile floor by someone who thought a badge meant judgment without evidence." When it was Officer Kendall's time to speak, he approached the microphone stiffly. His lawyer sat just behind him, whispering last-minute guidance he wouldn't hear. I thought I was doing my job, he began. I was acting on reports. People have been using fake EBT cards in the area. She matched. He stopped. Looked up. Jordan was watching him, not with anger, not with pity, just presence. She matched a profile I had in my head. He finally admitted it. Not a real profile, just what I've seen, what I assumed, I thought I knew. The committee chair raised an eyebrow. So you believed that a black woman with a Coach wallet must be committing fraud? I didn't say that. You didn't have to, a voice said from the gallery. Gasps. A murmur. The chair banged his gavel, but Jordan didn't speak. She didn't need to. The truth had already landed. One by one, other stories began to surface. A teenage boy wrongfully detained while biking to work. A Latina nurse pulled over twice in 1 week on her way to the hospital. An elderly man frisked outside his own apartment building, the same precinct, the same patterns, but no one had ever dared to report them publicly, until now. Because now, someone who had been through it was sitting at the front of the room. Not as a victim, not as a symbol, but as a witness with power. As the hearing neared its close, Jordan was asked one final question. Judge Miles, what outcome would you like to see here today? She paused. The room leaned in. I don't want Officer Kendall to lose his job because I'm angry. I want him to lose his job because he's dangerous. A pause. Because next time it won't be a judge he arrests, it'll be a kid who doesn't know how to stay silent. And no one will be there to hear it. Silence. So my request is not for vengeance, it's for accountability. Retraining won't change what someone refuses to learn. But removal? That sends a message. The committee members nodded gravely, and just like that, she was done. She stood, smoothed her suit, and walked out, leaving only truth behind.